Hello to you, who listening to this podcast. I don't know who you are, how old you are, where you live, or what kind of work you do. But if you're listening to this episode, perhaps you're tired. Maybe you're carrying heavy responsibilities on your shoulders. The pillar of your family, a son, a husband, a father. Maybe you're trying to cope with financial pressures, invisible worries, and even emotions you can't share with anyone. I want you to know this. You are not alone. In today's podcast episode, I want to sit down with you, not to lecture, not to teach you how to be a man, but just to talk about the good, gentle, simmering things that we sometimes forget in the rush of life. Life can be very harsh, but hidden deep within it, there are still positive things, small glimmers of light that can help us get up each day. And that's what I want to share today. As a friend, someone who has been tired and is learning to live more gently, little by little. If you're ready, let's begin. Your worth is not what you carry. Take a deep breath. Really, right now, wherever you are, whether you're driving, walking, or just lying still, breathe in and let it out slowly. You've been holding your breath for a long time, haven't you? Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You've been carrying so much. Expectations, deadlines, bills. The silent pressure of being the one who holds it all together. The provider, the protector, the man who doesn't break. But I want to tell you something, gently, but clearly. Your worth is not in the weight you carry. So many men have been raised to believe that they are only as good as what they produce, only as valuable as the income they bring, the problems they solve, the people they take care of. That unless they're doing, they're not enough. But that's not true. You are valuable because you exist, because you feel, because you care, because you try, even when no one sees the effort. You are not a machine. You are not a job title. You are not the number in your bank account. You are not the car you drive or the house you live in. And you are definitely not your mistakes. You're human, a man with a heart that gets tired, a soul that longs for rest, a mind that sometimes needs a break, and a body that deserves gentleness, not just from the world, but from yourself. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you sat with yourself, not to judge or fix, but just to listen? When was the last time you let yourself rest without guilt? You may feel like slowing down is failure, but it's not. Sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is to pause, to breathe, to ask, what do I need right now? And truly listen to the answer. Let me remind you, you are doing better than you think. Maybe no one has said that to you lately. Maybe you've been too focused on what's undone. But look at what you've already survived. Look at what you've already held together. You wake up. You show up. You keep going, even when it's hard. That's not weakness. That's strength, the quiet kind. The kind that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. So today, allow this moment to be one where you release some of the weight, even just a little. You don't have to carry it all alone. You never did. And if no one's told you lately, I'm proud of you. Truly. The silence of men and the healing within. Let's talk about silence. Not the peaceful kind, like birdsong at dawn, or a quiet cup of coffee before the world wakes up. No, I'm talking about the heavy kind. The silence that settles in a man's chest when he wants to scream but doesn't, when his eyes sting but don't cry, when the words he needs to say are trapped behind walls built over years of be strong, man up, don't be soft. You know that silence, don't you? Maybe you've lived in it for a long time. Maybe no one really knows what you're going through. Maybe you don't even remember how to talk about it anymore. You wake up, go to work, pay the bills, be there for others, keep it together. And somehow, your own feelings, the messy, painful, complicated ones, get pushed further and further down until you don't even know where they went. But here's the truth, brother. Silence doesn't mean you're okay. And being silent isn't the same as being strong. We've been taught that talking is weakness, that men who speak about pain are less than, that vulnerability makes us soft. But I want to tell you this, being honest about what hurts is one of the strongest things a man can do. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't mean crying in front of everyone, unless you need to. It can start with something simple, admitting to yourself, this is hard. Saying to a friend, I'm not okay, but I'm trying. Writing it down, praying, breathing. Healing doesn't always look like loud breakthroughs. Sometimes it looks like silence, but this time, the healing kind. The silence of rest, of being seen, of letting the storm pass without pretending it's sunny. Let's say something no one says enough. Men hurt too, and not just from major events. Sometimes it's the buildup of little things, the rejections, the doubts, the criticism, the loneliness that slowly wear us down. But you don't have to stay worn down. You can start small. One word, one truth, one act of kindness to yourself. And if you've been silent for too long, let this be the beginning of something new. A quiet courage that says, I will not carry this alone anymore. Family, where you don't have to be strong all the time. There's a moment that stays with many men. Quiet, simple, but powerful. It's the moment you sit down at home after a long day and someone simply says, you're home. How was it? Maybe no one said it today. Maybe no one said it in a long time. Or maybe you don't feel at home anywhere right now, not even in your own skin. But let me offer you this thought. Family isn't just who lives under the same roof. Family is where you can take off the armor. We live in a world that celebrates the strong, silent type, the man who takes care of everyone else, the man who never complains, the man who holds it all together. But even heroes need a place to fall apart, and that place, ideally, should be home. Now, maybe your home isn't perfect. Maybe you're a father trying to do better than your own, a husband struggling to connect, a son trying to forgive. Maybe you live alone. Maybe you're estranged from the people you love. Still, you deserve a space where you can say, I'm tired today, and not be judged. A place where the weight of being the strong one is lifted, even for a little while. Because no man can carry the world forever. Your family, or whatever community you call your own, isn't looking for perfection. They need you, not just the provider, not just the problem solver, but the whole man, including the parts that are scared, unsure, even broken. And if you think showing weakness will make you less of a man in their eyes, ask yourself, would you think less of someone you love if they told you they were hurting? Of course not. You'd listen, you'd comfort, you'd be there. So why do you expect any less for yourself? If you're a father, know this. Your children don't just learn from your strength, they learn from how you handle struggle. If you're a partner, know this. Your vulnerability builds trust more than any act of stoicism ever will. If you're a son, a brother, a friend, remember, you're allowed to lean, not just lead. Family isn't about holding your breath until no one's looking. It's about exhaling in front of someone who says, it's okay, I've got you. So tonight, if the weight is heavy, find that safe space. And if you haven't found it yet, build it, gently, slowly, one honest word at a time. When life doesn't go as planned, the art of letting go. Let's be honest, you had a plan. Maybe not a perfect one, but you had dreams. A picture in your mind of how things were supposed to go. The career you thought you'd have by now. The kind of father, husband, son, or friend you wanted to be. The place you thought you'd live, the version of yourself you hoped to become. But here you are. And things didn't quite go that way. Maybe life threw you off course. Maybe someone let you down. Maybe you let yourself down. Maybe you tried, and tried hard. But it still wasn't enough. And that can be a quiet heartbreak. One you don't talk about. One you carry alone. One you tuck away behind a smile or a sentence like, "I'm fine," even when you're anything but. But let me tell you something, from one man to another. You are allowed to grieve the life that didn't happen. That's not weakness, that's honesty. And honesty is where healing begins. We live in a world that loves the comeback story, the guy who loses everything, then wins it all back. But sometimes the most powerful story isn't about winning it all back. It's about letting go with grace. Letting go of what could have been. Letting go of who you thought you needed to be. Letting go of the pressure to fix everything right now. You are not your setbacks. You are not your detours. You are not your past mistakes. You are still becoming. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means creating space. Space for something new. Something more honest. More peaceful. Something that fits who you are today. Not just who you were trying to be years ago. I know. It's hard. Especially when people are depending on you. Especially when your inner critic is louder than your own compassion. But here's what no one tells you. Letting go can be one of the strongest, most masculine things you ever do. It takes courage to accept what you can't change. It takes wisdom to stop fighting the wrong battles. And it takes self-respect to say, I deserve peace too. So if you're feeling lost, start here. Breathe. Acknowledge the pain. Name what you've been holding on to. And slowly begin to loosen your grip. You are not behind. You're not broken. You're just human, evolving, adapting, surviving. And if you're still here, there's still something beautiful ahead, even if you can't see it yet. Small beliefs that keep you going. You don't need a grand vision for your life right now. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to see the whole path ahead. You just need one small reason to keep going. Sometimes we think we need a big breakthrough to feel better. A new job, a huge win, a complete transformation. But more often, what keeps us going are the small things. The tiny, quiet beliefs we hold on to when nothing else makes sense. Like, this pain won't last forever. I've made it through worse before. Someone out there still believes in me. Even if I fall again, I can get back up. I don't have to fix everything today. These aren't loud declarations. They're whispers. But sometimes, a whisper is all you need to survive the noise inside your head. There's power in the small act of showing up, the small habit you build, even when no one's watching, the small kindness you offer yourself, like going to bed a little earlier, choosing not to beat yourself up, or taking a deep breath before reacting. These things matter. As men, we often think strength means big, loud, impressive. But real strength is often quiet, invisible, unnoticed by the world, but felt deeply in the soul. Think about it. You've already made it through so much. There were moments, weren't there, when you thought, I can't do this. But you did. Maybe not perfectly. Maybe not the way you wanted. But you did it. And that means something. That means there's still a part of you, no matter how small, that believes in life, that believes there's still more for you, that some corner of the future is still waiting for you to arrive. So today, if everything feels heavy, don't look for a miracle. Just look for one small belief you can hold, one truth you know deep down, one reason to try again tomorrow. Even if it's just this, I'm not done yet. Because you're not. There is still joy you haven't felt. There are still conversations you haven't had. There are still people who haven't seen the best of you yet, including you. So keep going, not because everything is perfect, but because somewhere, deep within you, there's still a small belief that life has more in store, and that is more than enough. Slow down to go deeper. Let's take a moment. No pressure, no deadlines, no expectations. Just this moment, you and your breath. Inhale, exhale. You've been moving fast, maybe out of necessity, maybe out of habit. Always solving, always fixing, always pushing. And somewhere along the way, you might have forgotten what stillness feels like. But here's the thing. Speed doesn't equal progress. You can be running and still be lost. You can be productive and still be disconnected. You can be successful and still feel like something's missing. So today, I'm not asking you to hustle harder. I'm asking you to slow down. Not because you're weak, not because you're failing, but because slowing down is often the only way to go deeper. Deeper into the parts of you that are asking to be heard. Deeper into the questions you've been avoiding. Deeper into the kind of man you want to become. You see, when we never pause, we stop hearing ourselves. We drown out our intuition, that inner compass that whispers, "This matters," or "This isn't right," or "You deserve more." And here's what I've learned. Some of the most important answers in life don't shout, they whisper. And whispers can only be heard when the noise stops. So take that walk with no destination. Sit in the quiet without checking your phone. Breathe without a goal. Listen without trying to fix. Ask yourself, not what do I need to do, but what do I need to feel? Sometimes the real breakthroughs don't come from pushing forward. They come from pausing long enough to realize you're already standing where you need to be. And yes, the world will tell you to keep grinding, to keep proving your worth. But there's a deeper wisdom that says, you are enough, even when you rest. Because rest isn't retreat, it's renewal. Because stillness isn't laziness, it's listening. Because slowing down doesn't mean you're falling behind. It means you're coming home to yourself. So let this be your reminder. You're not just a machine. You're not just here to perform. You're allowed to be, to breathe, to feel, to slow down so you can go deeper. You don't have to be anyone else. There's something exhausting about always trying to measure up, to standards you didn't create, to images you see online, to the man your father thought you should be, to the man your younger self thought you would be by now. But let me tell you something as clearly as I can. You don't have to be anyone else. Not the man with the six-figure job. Not the man with the perfect body. Not the guy who always knows what to say. Not the silent, stoic alpha. Not the endless provider. Not the man who never breaks. You get to be you. The version of yourself that has flaws and doubts and bad days. The version of yourself who feels deeply, even when the world says not to. The man who's still learning, still becoming, still figuring things out. You know what's funny? Most men walk around thinking they're behind, comparing themselves to someone else's highlight reel. But that guy you admire, he's probably doing the same. We're all walking around with masks, all thinking we're the only ones struggling. But what if we stopped? What if, instead of trying to be that guy, we gave ourselves permission to just be this guy? The one who wakes up and tries again. The one who sometimes falls short but doesn't stop growing. The one who's strong in quiet ways. The one who's learning to love himself as he is, not just as he could be. Because here's the truth. You are not failing because you're not someone else. You are succeeding when you are true to you. You don't have to talk like him, dress like him, think like him, love like him, live like him. The world doesn't need more copies. The world needs you, and not just the polished, filtered, social version. The real you. The you who is sincere, curious, kind, complex. The you who has scars and stories behind them. The you who laughs at dumb jokes and sometimes cries when no one is looking. The you who's doing his best, even if it doesn't look like much today. That man, he's enough. He always was. So if you've spent your life thinking you're not man enough, let me say this gently and firmly. You already are. Strength looks different every day. Some days, strength looks like pushing through, getting up before the sun, showing up to work, providing, protecting, being the one others lean on, solving problems, keeping it all together. But on other days, strength looks very different. It looks like saying, I need help. It looks like taking a break before you burn out. It looks like crying in the car and still getting out to face the day. It looks like choosing patience when anger is easier. It looks like walking away from what's breaking you, even when it's all you've ever known. Strength is not one thing. It shifts. It evolves. It takes new forms depending on what you're facing and what you need. You've probably been told that strong men are the ones who never falter. But the truth is, strong men are the ones who keep going, even when they're scared, uncertain, or tired. Strong men know that softness doesn't cancel out strength. In fact, it deepens it. You're strong when you protect others, yes, but you're also strong when you protect yourself. From burnout, from toxic expectations, from the lies that say you're not enough unless. You're strong when you hold it together. But you're just as strong when you admit, I'm falling apart, and that's okay today. You're strong when you speak up. You're strong when you stay silent to listen. You're strong when you fight for what's right. And you're strong when you surrender to what you can't control. Every man has his version of strength. For some, it's physical. For others, it's emotional. For some, it's about resilience. For others, it's about compassion. There is no one mold. There is no ideal to fit into. Your strength is yours, and that's what makes it powerful. So if today your strength doesn't look impressive, if it doesn't win applause, if it only means getting out of bed or sending one honest message to a friend, let that be enough. Let yourself be enough. Because real strength is not about how much you carry. It's about how well you love, how deeply you live, and how honestly you show up. The quiet wins that no one sees. Not every win comes with applause. Not every victory is posted online. Some of the most powerful moments in a man's life happen in silence, with no audience, no spotlight, no fanfare. These are the quiet wins. Like getting out of bed when every part of you wanted to stay down. Like choosing not to raise your voice in an argument. Like going to therapy even though it terrified you. Like putting the bottle away when no one was watching. Like texting someone, "I'm not okay," instead of pretending that you were. These don't make headlines. They don't earn trophies. But they take incredible courage. Because no one claps for your self-control. No one sees the battles inside your mind. No one knows how hard it was just to show up, to parent your kids, to finish your shift, to smile through grief. But you know, and that matters. We live in a world obsessed with external success. More money, more status, more muscles, more likes. But the inner work, the quiet transformation, that's the gold no one talks about enough. The man who chooses peace over pride. The man who learns how to forgive, especially himself. The man who breaks a generational pattern by choosing presence over perfection. Those are wins, and they build a life. Not flashy, but free. Not loud, but lasting. So if you feel like no one sees the effort you're putting in, let me be the one to say it. I see it, I honor it, and I'm proud of you. For every morning you didn't quit. For every time you showed up without recognition. For every tear you wiped alone. For every step you took in the dark, not knowing if you'd make it through. Those are the wins that count. Those are the bricks you build your strength with. Those are the victories that turn survival into growth, and growth into legacy. So today, celebrate something small. You don't need a big moment, just a moment of truth. A moment of presence. A moment where you realize, I may not be where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. And that, my brother, is enough. What you carry doesn't define you. Every man carries something. A mistake, a memory, a debt, a heartbreak, the pressure to provide, the fear of failing, the guilt of not being enough, the weight of being strong for everyone else. And because most of it is invisible, people assume you're fine. They don't see the battles behind your quiet. They don't know how heavy it feels to smile some days. They don't understand what it costs just to keep moving forward. But here's what I want to tell you. What you carry doesn't define you. You are not your burdens. You are not your broken moments. You are not the worst thing you've done or the hardest thing you've been through. You are more than the weight on your shoulders. You are the one who didn't quit, even when you had every reason to. You are the one who stayed, who fought, who rebuilt. You are the one who chose love again, even when your heart had been broken. Sometimes we confuse identity with experience, but you are not the pain. You are the person who survived it. You are not the debt. You are the man working to make it right. You are not the label. You are the soul growing beyond it every day. And if you're tired, it doesn't mean you're weak. If you're struggling, it doesn't mean you failed. It just means you've been strong for too long without enough rest, enough kindness, enough room to breathe. So breathe, brother. Loosen the grip. Let go of the lie that says, I have to carry it all alone. You don't. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to lay it down for a while. You're allowed to choose yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of survival. You are not a burden. You are a human being, doing the best you can. And no matter how heavy it's been, I promise you this, you are not defined by the weight. You are defined by the heart that keeps carrying it, the soul that still hopes, the man who still shows up. That is who you are. You deserve peace too. You've been strong for so long. For your family, for your friends, for your partner, for people who never even said thank you. You've handled the pressure. You've held it together when no one else could. You've smiled when you wanted to scream. You've worked through the pain, kept your promises, paid the price. But let me ask you, gently, honestly, when was the last time you felt peace? Not just silence, not just distraction, but real peace, the kind that reaches into your bones and says, you're safe now. If you can't remember, it's okay. You're not alone. So many men have been taught that peace is something you give to others, not something you're allowed to feel for yourself. You were taught to fix things, to protect, to provide, to solve everyone else's pain. But who's solving yours? Who's telling you that you don't have to be on all the time? That you're allowed to take a breath before you break? That peace isn't something you earn, it's something you deserve. Because you do. You deserve peace. Not because you're perfect, not because you've done everything right, but because you're human, because you've been fighting for so long. Because peace isn't a reward, it's a right. So what does peace look like for you? Maybe it's setting a boundary, even if people don't like it. Maybe it's stepping away from the noise for a while. Maybe it's finally saying, I don't have to carry this anymore. Peace doesn't mean your life is easy. It just means your soul is no longer at war with itself. And sometimes it begins with one choice. I'm allowed to rest. I don't have to prove anything right now. I can be enough, even when I'm still healing. You've earned the right to slow down. You've earned the right to feel safe in your own skin. You've earned the right to feel peace, not just give it to others. And maybe that peace won't come all at once. But if you create space for it, it will come. Not through force, not through performance, but through grace, through acceptance, through letting go. So tonight, or whenever you're listening, take a moment. Place your hand over your heart. Close your eyes and let yourself believe, even just for a breath. I deserve peace too. You are not alone in this. There's a moment most men experience but rarely speak about. The quiet breaking point. Not a loud crash, not a public scene. Just that deep, sinking feeling inside when you wonder, is it always going to feel like this? It could be a sleepless night, a silent drive home, a long stare at the ceiling, wondering how much longer you can hold on. And in that moment, what hurts most isn't the pressure. It's the isolation, the sense that no one sees you, that no one understands, that everyone else seems to be doing fine, and you're the only one falling apart. But hear me clearly now. You are not alone in this. Not even close. There are men across this world, in your city, in your workplace, maybe even in your own family, who are walking around with invisible wounds. Men who smile in meetings but cry in the shower. Men who are dependable for everyone else, but can't find someone to depend on themselves. We've all been there, in one form or another. So if you've been suffering in silence, believing no one would understand, I promise you, someone would. If you've been carrying your pain like a secret, you don't have to anymore. There are people, maybe even strangers, who would hold space for you without judgment. There are men who've walked through darkness just like you, and came out not by being perfect, but by being honest. And honesty starts with 5 words. I'm struggling. I need help. There's courage in that sentence. There's freedom in it. Because every time a man says it, the silence breaks a little. The shame weakens. The healing begins. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to carry it all yourself. You don't have to pretend to be unbreakable. Because guess what? Being human is not a flaw. Needing support is not weakness. And connection is not a luxury. It's a lifeline. So today, if the walls are closing in, if your breath feels short, if your mind won't stop racing, reach out, speak, send the message, make the call, say the words out loud. I don't want to do this alone anymore. You were never meant to. We're not meant to fight in silence. We're meant to stand together, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, and remind each other, you are not alone. Not now. Not ever. Becoming the man you needed. Every man has a version of himself he wishes he had. Maybe it's the father who listened without judgment. Maybe it's the older brother who taught you how to handle life with grace. Maybe it's the friend who could sit in your silence and say, I get it, man. Whoever he is, you needed him. You still do, in some ways. And here's the powerful truth most men never realize. You can become him. You can become the man you once looked for. The one who speaks with kindness instead of shame. The one who stays when things get hard. The one who knows how to show love without fear. You don't need a perfect past to build a better future. You just need to start with compassion, with presence, with courage. Maybe you never had a role model. Maybe you had one, but he failed you. That's okay. You're not here to repeat the past. You're here to rewrite it. To offer yourself the words you never heard. You're doing okay. It's not weak to feel. You're allowed to be gentle with yourself. And not just offer them, but believe them. Because becoming the man you needed doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest, real, open, grounded. It means choosing growth over ego, connection over pride, healing over hiding. And it starts inside. When you look at your reflection and choose not to criticize, but to understand. When you forgive the younger version of yourself for not knowing better. When you decide that your strength isn't in hiding your pain, but in facing it. One step at a time, one breath at a time. And then something incredible happens. You not only become the man you needed, you become the man someone else needs too. A son, a brother, a partner, a friend, even a stranger listening to this right now. You become the proof that it's possible to live with heart, to love with depth, to walk through the fire and come out softer, not harder. So if you've ever asked yourself, where was the man I needed? Know this, he's standing in front of the mirror, and he's still becoming. One choice at a time, one day at a time. You are still becoming. There's this pressure, loud, constant, and unspoken, that by a certain age, by a certain moment, by a certain season of life, you should already have it all figured out. The right job, the right body, the perfect relationship, the stable mind, the healed heart. But let's tell the truth. No one has it all figured out. Not really. Not the guy with the 6-figure job. Not the one with the 6-pack abs. Not even the one with the big smile and the calm voice. Because becoming isn't a destination. It's a journey, a process, a slow unfolding of who you really are beneath the armor, the expectations, and the noise. Every day, you're learning, unlearning, falling, getting back up, choosing better, sometimes choosing worse, and learning from that too. And that's okay. That's human. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late to your own life. You are still becoming. And becoming is messy. It's non-linear. It's full of moments where you don't recognize yourself because you're shedding who you were to make room for who you're becoming. Some days, you'll feel proud of your growth. Other days, you'll feel stuck, lost, unsure if you're making any progress at all. But trust this, you are. Every deep breath you take instead of yelling, that's growth. Every time you ask for help when you used to isolate, that's becoming. Every boundary you set, every tear you let fall, every moment you choose presence over pressure, that's proof. You're not who you were a year ago, not even who you were a month ago. And no, maybe you're not yet who you want to be, but you're on the path, and that counts. So today, if you feel like you should be further along, take a moment to honor how far you've already come. Because every scar tells a story, every setback taught you something. Every step, even the small ones, moved you forward. You are not finished. You are not failing. You are becoming. And becoming is enough. Right here, right now.